How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I've got my dog just sat next to me, trying to keep quiet, but she's falling asleep, which is perfect for us.
Perhaps I could start with asking you, what is Land of Bad all about? What can viewers expect when they watch this?
I've watched so many movies, action movies, over the last year or so, especially during the pandemic and since the pandemic. And they've all been great and they've been fun. Like I know it may seem biased, but this is truly one of the best action movies I think I've seen. I read the script, I shot the movie, so I knew it was going to be good. But when I actually watched it, it is an intense, nonstop, epic roller coaster ride that is just like nothing I've seen for a long time. And like I say, I shot it, and I was surprised when I went to all the screenings. I'm just like, oh wow, we've got something here. We've got something really good. And I've been to 4 screenings, and it doesn't grate on you. Like I've seen it 4 times already, and I'm still loving it, and I'm still watching it. I'm looking for things, and you forget about certain things. Like from the sound to the music score, like Will Eubank, the director, and his editing team did a real number on what we shot. I knew Will Eubank from his previous movie, Underwater, with Kristen Stewart. And he was one of the reasons I took the movie on, because I thought if you can make an ocean underwater movie look epic and vivid and like fluid and great, what could he do with like jungle, explosions, bullets, the Hemsworth's blue eyes, you know, and he did not disappoint. He really produced an epic movie. I truly, honestly believe that I want to be a part of his career early before he becomes the next big thing, because I truly believe Will Eubank will be the next big action director. He's the next Michael Bay. He's got such a great eye for shots and for scenarios. He's fantastic, and the writing of David Frugero is so layered and the dynamics are incredible. The beginning of the movie starts off slow, where you're introducing the characters and you start to care about them before we start throwing all the crap at them. But it really is an intense watch from literally 15 minutes in. It does not stop. And then you've got some beautiful twists near the end, which really surprised me when I read the script. Never mind, viewers actually watching it. So I'm looking forward to the UK, because we love a good action in England. And I think this is one of the big ones.
Yeah, can you talk about kind of preparing for those roles? I mean, was there a lot of military training? Was there gun training? I mean,
I had 2 days. I had 2 days. I got the script Friday night. I met with the director, Will Eubank, on a Saturday over Zoom, and I was in Australia on Monday. There was no turnaround. But
oh my God.
It's why it's why I constantly work out every day. I'm always trying to stay ready, so that if an opportunity like this does come along, I'm there, I'm ready. Would I have liked to be in better shape? Of course, but it didn't matter. I looked functional. I looked military, which was what we needed for the role. They're not shredded bodybuilders. They're functional cardio monsters that are running up and down hills across the world. For our country. I had no time to really prepare in that sense. But once I did get to Australia on the Monday, we had a good week catch up, because the guys had a couple of weeks of weapons training. Making sure that we're very competent with the handguns, with our assault rifles. And my character Bishop is the sniper. He's God's eye, so he's the guy that kind of picks you off from the distance. So I had this huge gun, which must have been, I don't even know what it is. It's like 80 pounds. It's like it's huge. It weighs twice what you do. So I'm lugging that around on my back as well. And so it really was kind of an intense kind of training process week, before we started actually shooting, just to make sure that we were competent. We had Australian Delta Force guys looking out for us, making sure we held the gun right, making sure we stood right, we loaded right, we even just like how you stood, how you kind of moved, how you tactically kind of moved around each other. Because if you hesitate, you die. You hesitate, someone dies in this world, and you have to just kind of be so fluid with your comrades and know where everyone's going. So we wanted to make sure that was something that we weren't thinking about when we were acting. That's just something that came kind of muscle memory. And so we had days and days where he was just drilling us, and to the point where it became second nature. I'm not saying we have Delta Force level, but an actor, we were no longer thinking about what was going on. And so it became very natural. I remember shooting scenes where my gun would jam in a take, but your guns jam in a war, and you don't panic, you don't stop the take. You get it done. You unjam your gun, and so during takes, my gun would jam, and I'm unloading a bullet, and I'm getting frustrated, and I'm throwing it, and I'm loading back it. But this is stuff that's second nature, which was able to be used in the movie. So, all that training really does help kind of prepare you for a role like this. And so, it was a lot of fun. It's every little boy's dream. You're running up and down mountains with guns with your friends.
And I think also the really cool thing about this action film is there's a bit of a heart to it too, which it really gives it a bit of more authenticity, a few more layers, because everyone's got someone to go back to. Likewise for your character as well.
I think the biggest shock is the heart comes from Russell Crowe. Usually he brings this gravitas and this anger, which he does in this movie, but it comes from a good place. He really does bring the comedy that we've not seen from him, other than The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling. That movie, I love that movie, and the comedic side of him that came out. And you see it in this movie. He really is all heart, and he cares about his soldiers, and he wants to get them home alive. But he's kind of got this whole kind of side story going on with his wife being pregnant, and she could give birth at any time during this literally intense life or death mission. And he's kind of balancing real life war zone with his real life wife, who's calling him up saying, I want this, I want that. And when you're talking about war and a pregnant woman, it's just as intense. It's just as intense. So Russell's in a hard spot. But yeah, I think, again, David Frugero wrote these great characters that were layered, and you care about them because we talk about our families. We talk about our wives and our daughters that were at home. And so you want them to get back to those families. And I think that's what does make this movie different, is you care about these characters. You want them to go home because you learn about their families. And, there's already talk of a sequel where you might even meet these families, because they were such a big part of our characters that, maybe we'll throw out a prequel or a sequel where you actually get to meet them, because I think heart was a big part of this movie.
And I think also, obviously, you filmed in Australia, and you said you had 2 days and then you're there. And it's the first time that I think Liam and Luke Hemsworth are both on screen together as well. Were they really welcoming? Did they want to show you around? And what was it like? Were there some challenges also for filming in such a hot country?
Can't stand the Hemsworth brothers. They're awful.
I know.
God. Them with their beautiful blue eyes and their wonderful hair and their great personalities. Oh, and they're talented too. Oh, I hate them. You couldn't meet a more beautiful family inside and out. Like, literally, they took me home to meet mom and dad, to Byron Bay. They were so proud to show us Australia their way, and they were taking us out for dinner to their favorite steak restaurants. We worked out together. They surfed together. We literally became a proper brotherhood, and that chemistry off camera really kind of shows on camera. But we really truly bonded, and we all joked that I was the fourth Hemsworth brother, and that's how he introduced me to his mum. And Luke was like, "This is your fourth son that you didn't know about," and she was like, "Ah, fantastic, one that speaks properly." I was like, "Oh, mum's got jokes." But she does. That's where the humor comes from. Their mum and dad were amazing. They're such a beautiful, humble, down-to-earth family. I couldn't speak more highly of the Hemsworth family. They truly were a blessing. And I'm actually going to dinner with Milo and Luke Hemsworth tonight, because Luke's over for a couple of weeks. And so anytime one of the brothers are in town, me and Milo will take them out. So I've just come back from Mexico premiere with Milo. Luke's coming in now, so you can see that we truly have bonded, and anytime we can get some time together, we do. It's a great brotherhood, and I'm glad that we kind of came together on this.
Causing chaos in town, no doubt.
Oh no, we're old men. We're just going for a quiet meal, just the boys. It's just the boys. Just a bit of steak, quiet dinner. We'll be in bed by 9.
Sure. So in Australia, were there kind of the challenges then of filming there? I mean, obviously the climate, maybe the rugged landscape. Was there anything that obviously there were some stand-up moments, but anything that was kind of challenging about filming there?
All that, for sure. It's you got to think, the movie took cardio. It took a certain type of actor to actually carry out this movie. You're running up and down mountains constantly, take after take after take. You're sprinting, you're climbing up, you're climbing down. And then, like you say, with the Australian summer coming in, the temperatures were insane. You were sweating, you were like pouring water. You had to hydrate because you were just sweating all day, like going through this kind of physical kind of torture. added to that, the extra weight you're carrying with the body armor, the equipment that we were carrying, the sidearm, the assault rifles. My character is the sniper of the team, so he's got this huge sniper rifle, which is insanely heavy as well. It got to the point where we would work out together and train in the gym, but we wouldn't train legs because your legs were shot from filming. Your legs were exhausted from filming, so you never train legs, and you wouldn't train arms because carrying these guns around all day was exhausting on the biceps, the triceps, the forearms, your wrists. So literally, you only trained. It was literally chest and back was all you could train, or a little bit of cardio because you wanted to maintain that fitness and that physique, but you were so exhausted from such a demanding schedule that you couldn't train properly because you were already getting that workout day in, day out, just in the script. So it really was tough, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think it was fantastic. It was great fun. It kept us in the moment. It kept us exhausted, which is the situation that these characters would have been in. They would have been exhausted, and we were. We're not soldiers. We're not these Delta Force athletes that can run all day and all night, and they're facing real life kind of threats. We're facing TV threats. So we got just a glimpse of what they have to go through, and I've got nothing but respect for them because we were exhausted.
Did you use any stunt doubles as well, or did you kind of get to do all of it yourself, or was there any point where you were like, oh, we kind of need to pull them in because it's a bit of a dangerous
What you happened was 4 guys running up and down the hill like children, wanting to do everything, absolutely everything. Like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? What if I literally asked the director, like, if you want me to parachute for real, I'm qualified. Like, I can skydive. Like, we wanted to do everything, and we did do most of it. We did do a lot of stuff, but we had an incredible stunt team that really took over because some of the explosions are so intense and so close to us that they just insurance-wise, they just wouldn't allow us to be that close to the danger. So we had an incredible stunt team that really did take a lot of the brunt force of some of the stunts, falling down mountains, and like when the explosions were so close to us and so big, they just couldn't risk, a rock coming and just, repelling into your face or something, not the face. So yeah, again, nothing but love and respect to our incredible stunt team that really had to go through some kind of epic moments in that movie. Especially Liam's, because his character kind of really goes through it.
But you also have this slight comedy side to you as well, where I think there's this new guy, Kinney, comes in. He's a bit of a newcomer into the action. He's not as, I don't know, far down the line in his training and as much as he's done work-wise. And was it kind of fun to have that kind of sassy comedy side to you as well?
No, it's great fun, and it's a shame because there's a few bits that have had to be cut out because the movie was getting long, and we had to try and keep it on track. Myself and Luke love to ad lib, and so there were just we would never let it go. We always had to have the last laugh on each other, and so there's just constant moments where we were just outdoing each other. Some of it made it to the movie, others it was like, look, guys, it's not about you. But it was great fun. A lot of it was in the script from David Frugero, and a lot of it was just ad lib because it just felt real. You felt the brotherhood. It's fun to play that kind of snarky, sarcastic character, but it also came from a different space in terms of like I created a background, a backstory for Bishop because it's not in the script. And so my backstory was he has a wife and he has a daughter, which we then talk about in the movie. Some of the voiceover stuff, we're talking about our children. Basically, why he's pushing on Kinney so hard is it's like a hazing. It's like an initiation. It's kind of he's pushing on him and pushing and poking the bear because he's like, look, you better be ready. You need to be ready for this. This is war. You normally kind of stand back and you push buttons, but we're face to face. You're no better than us. Just because you push a button. There's a great monologue that Bishop actually speaks to Kinney about in the movie where he literally compares the two and says war is barbaric. There's no winners in war. And just because you push a button from a distance doesn't make you any different than us who have to kind of face our foes, and look them in the eye when we take their life. But at least we have the courage to do that face to face. And it just takes one bad day for you to realize, and change your whole perception. And unfortunately, that day is today for Kinney. And if you hesitate as a soldier, someone dies. And we want to go back to our wife and daughters. And so that's why he's pushing so hard on Kinney, is because he comes from a place of like, if you're not ready, you shouldn't be here, because I need to rely on you 100% because I want to go back to my wife and daughter. And so that's where it came from, is it kind of that poking the bear. And it's Kinney's coming of age story. You know, it's like, are you sink or swim? Are you ready? And you know, unfortunately, he has to go through quite a gauntlet of explosions and bullets and dogs. There's everything in this movie, absolutely everything. So yeah, it's quite an initiation for poor Kinney.
Well, I think I'm out of time, and I want to say thank you so much for speaking to me about it all. It's really interesting, and I hope everyone enjoys it as much as me. And I really look forward to a sequel if there is one as well. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You have a lovely
to meet you. You too. Enjoy your evening. Bye.
Bye.